All right. It says we are live. And yes, we are indeed in a live situation. And Sylvia, the infamous, is live at the courthouse. She's got some background going on. I know this sounds like you're in a hallway. Where are you exactly?
I'm in a chapel.
You're in the chapel. This is a
in
place
the chapel of court.
Is this a place of prayer and you're streaming?
As long as the minister
Sacrilegious. Sacrilegious. Okay, we are here with Sylvia, and of course we also have Kennedy Hobbs here from as well. And we are here to get all the dynamics, the dramatics, the tea, everything that happened. You were in this morning at 10 o'clock. We were there late last night. This morning, they let you come in at 10 o'clock, and they didn't give you a real break. So you guys have been going ever since 10 this morning.
Yes. Ever since.
Okay.
10. Yeah. Well, we didn't start on time. We started 10ish.
Oh, is that? I didn't know CP time happened with courts too, and you know.
We won't talk about it.
Okay. So you started at 10ish, and last night we left off with Shannon Stillwell's attorney had given his opening statement. This morning we have four more attorneys that need to give opening statements.
You mean five more?
Five more, exactly. Five more. There's 6 defendants. Yesterday we did the state prosecutor's opening statements, and that was a whole thing. She made some jungle references and some incendiary comments about people being a pack of wolves, and you can read that story on and we talked about it last night. Also, Shannon Stillwell's attorney talked last night and really painted the picture of him being, a victim of his environment, and really not a murderer. Yes, he sold drugs, but he didn't murder anybody. So this morning we come back at 10ish, and who is up to bat?
It's Steve, Mr. Steele, Jeffrey Williams.
Now, Mr. Steele, for all those who need to be reminded,
he is the attorney for Jeffrey Williams, and he's pretty good he's more of an appeals attorney. He's really good. His record is spectacular with the appeals. He wins majority of his appeals.
Oh, okay. So
I think his rating is like 55% he gets approved. I think something like that.
Okay, so he's got a really good batting average when it comes to being able to get appeals through. And he is Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug's attorney. Yes. And we were expecting to see him last. I thought they would have maybe put him towards the end as kind of like the final presentation, since Young Thug is being charged as the leader of this criminal enterprise. He came on first thing in the morning.
Yes, because I think they knew he was going to be long. So he was really long-winded. I'm just going to tell you the truth. We took a break, and then we had to come right back. We thought we was going on lunch, but it was just a comfort break. And then they gave him another hour. So.
Okay. Well, we talked about that last night. I think that he should get more time, right? Considering he's having to defend his client from allegations that all of these other folk were being, influenced, led, directed by him to commit various crimes, including murder and, robbery, theft, etc. So with Thug being, I guess, the kind of centerpiece of this whole thing, they gave Steele a good amount of time this morning. Yes. So how did he set this whole thing? I mean, what's the overall arching theme that he's going to be going with in this case?
Well, he set it off like first he was telling about Jeffrey's background, how him growing up in impoverished environment, and how his family, he has 6 sisters and then his brother, and he talked about how he was picked on, bullied, and all this kind of stuff, and how the thing that really he stuck to was either he's going to be a athlete or into music, and so he chose music. He talked about who inspired him. They talk about Lil Wayne as being his inspiration, and then also on Lil Wayne, Tupac talk about Tupac, and then talk about how the name arrived, how he arrived at his name of Young Thug. They talk about that originally he was supposed to have been PYT, but he saw that he was not a player, and then it changed the name. Thug meaning is okay. I wrote it down.
Truly humble under God.
Yes, thank you. Truly humble under God.
All right, truly humble under God. That's an interesting acronym. I'm wondering, we probably should know this, or maybe we shouldn't, if that's ever been stated in a record before, where he's actually said, you know, Young Thug, truly humble under God. Like, or did we just come up with that recently? I'm just wondering.
I really don't know, but that's what they said this morning.
Okay.
That's what Phil said this morning.
Okay, so he's painting the picture of Young Thug, and this is very similar to what Shannon Stillwell's attorney was doing, that this environment really left two choices, right? It's either you're going to be a ball player or you're going to be a rapper. And these guys really had no choice as to what they could do. It's interesting they didn't say a drug dealer, because that's also a choice in the hood, right? So it's either ball player, rapper, drug dealer. These days you can also maybe be a Twitch streamer, but they didn't mention drug dealer, which is also usually one of the choices, which would of course implicated him in the whole thing. I would think maybe the defense might, the prosecution.
Well, they did that with Stillwell. He did say he was
right. He did say he was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Okay. So so getting back to Thug real quick, he's sitting there. Tell me, what is he looking like today as all of this is happening? Yesterday he had a black and white ensemble. His
face is pretty like still. He didn't have any kind of movement. He listened intensively, and he I mean, a couple of times he shook his head and he was like in agreement with what Mr. Steele said. But other than that, he paid a lot of attention. Now I don't, where I'm sitting now, I don't get a chance to see the jurors, so I don't know what the facial expression of the jurors today. So because yesterday I was sitting in the middle, they had the media sitting in the middle. Now we're sitting on the left side, and the funny thing is we're sitting between the two families. You know, like we have the defendants, all the defendants' families sitting behind me, and in front of me we have Lil Nut, what's his name, Nut. Mr. Thomas family sitting in front. So they were very dramatic, a lot of movement from them. They were shaking their head in disagreement with what Mr. Steele was saying. They were not having it. A couple of times they got up and left the courtroom and came back. Yesterday they were emotional, where they were crying when they showed the young man's picture. But this time they were more in just, you know, in disagreement with Mr. Steele.
So Thug's family was there, right? Again,
his whole family, as well as Yak Gotti, Miss Nichols, the wife of Mr. Nichols. Thug's mom is here today. She's here. Okay. She's sitting behind me. Of course, you know, Mariah, the scientist, his girlfriend is there. Quite a few people.
Was Kevin Liles there again? Because they talked about him being, you know, an artist, and you know, Lil Wayne and Tupac being his influences. They kind of talked about how he got into the music industry, being inspired by these folks. Was Kevin Liles, former record executive, there again today?
I'm not too sure, because he didn't come downstairs. Now that they know where they're supposed to sit, he might be upstairs. I don't know for a fact.
Okay, so Thug is there, and what's he looking like today? What's he wearing? Is he wearing?
He's wearing black. He's wearing black. Okay. His hair is up. His hair's not like the way it was yesterday. It's all up in it, like in a bun type of thing.
Okay. So you're saying that the family of Little Nut, who his name is Thomas, is that his last name? The gentleman that was killed.
His last name is Thomas.
And he's the gentleman but he was killed allegedly by Stillwell and Quantavious, right? There was
that's what the charges. That's what the charges is, that he.
Okay.
They had something to do
allegedly.
Yeah.
So okay, and the reason why I'm just trying to think. Well, Thug is not the one that is alleged to have killed him. So why are you guys making faces and making sounds and expressing disagreement towards him? I guess it's because they're under the understanding that Thug directed this hit. Is that the idea?
I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
they were making motions a couple of times, just, sucking their teeth and things like that. So,
Okay.
hmm
So after we talk about him getting into the music industry and his name standing for truly humble under God, what was the next thing that he kind of, once he set it up as, this young man coming up in this environment, choosing to go into the music industry instead of sports, what was the next kind of?
he basically talked about the overt acts. He was going line by line by each overt act, which majority of the consensus is that other people were committing these crimes, but they're putting it on him. So
Mhm.
therefore, the possibility. I mean, he's trying to clarify. Hey, these charges are not his charge. He has nothing to do with it. Basically, it's because he is well known and he is a person who try to help the community. They putting it on him, so that's what his his mo is.
Okay, so the thought is he's saying, listen, I know we're on, these are my co-defendants,
Hmm
but what you're saying they did has nothing to do with me. So
Exactly,
he's
and
trying to
most of them,
separate himself from these other folks.
yeah, and most of them he does not know. So he's saying these crimes that these people that has done or being accused of, it has nothing to do with them. He doesn't know them, so therefore, why are they putting it on him? And now he has to fight because he helped some of the people in the community because they didn't have money, and he paid for some of their lawyer fee, help finance some of their like dreams and things like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But it has nothing to do with the gang. It's more of him trying to give back to the community.
Right. Now you say he does not know them. He's saying he doesn't know the victims, or he's saying he doesn't know the individuals that he's co-defendant with on the stand.
Some of them he does not know at all.
The co-defendants.
Co-defendants, yes.
So who is he saying he doesn't know? So we've got
He didn't
Rodarius
didn't
Ryan.
didn't didn't didn't
That
put
is
down
specified.
exactly. But according to, huh, yeah, you can. I'm sorry. According to when I interviewed Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Ryan, when I interviewed him, he's the one who expressed to me back in January that his son did not know Thug at all. Only thing he
Mm-hmm.
knows is his music, and he came from the same neighborhood. But him himself did not know him because he said his son been going in and out of jail since he was 12 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
him and Thug are way different in age because Thug's like 31 and he's just turning 19. So they didn't know each other. It's just that because he's in the neighborhood and he's a fan of Thug's music. So because the neighborhood being off of Cleveland Avenue, they
Right.
put it as part of it.
Okay, so they pretty much swept up all of these felons, ex-felons, folks who have committed crimes, and they're saying because you live in this community, we're gonna just bundle you in as part of YSL. And Rodelius's dad is saying, well, he's not part of YSL. He doesn't even know Young Thug like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. And then the rest of them, they didn't specify whether Shannon Stillwell knows him. They didn't specify. He didn't say the other folks. They didn't name them who he doesn't know. They just said he doesn't know these people still.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So he's just trying to establish a separation between him and the co-defendants and,
We
establish
have
it.
about 4 more minutes.
4 more minutes. Well, listen, folks. What if this Jamie Carradine? I pronounced your name wrong yesterday. She goes, I believe that this will stick in the jurors' minds when these acts are brought up by the prosecution. So, Kennedy, if you want to shout out any of the questions that come up while we're talking, you can do that. But Jen, what do you think about that? I mean, do you think this is going to stick in people's minds?
What, the overt acts?
The conversation about who his life, how he came up, him coming up in poverty and having to choose a lifestyle of entertainment. Jamie's saying that she thinks that's going to stick in people's minds.
Yeah, definitely. Because what happened is you try to find something that the jury would relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of the jurors are women. right? There are women of middle age and upper age, and they have male sons. So they can relate to some of the things in that neighborhood, in that area, and that he was trying to connect with the jurors. And those were the thing he knew. I mean, he has an expert sitting next to him that can read a juror. She's an expert, the lady that's with him. So you know, sometimes when you humanize the person, you help them to connect with what they understand, the poverty and a single mother raising her children. She has 11 or 12 children, and they have to do the best that they can, and this young man want to get out of poverty, and what he does is he gets the money and he helps his community, you know,
and he's a rapper. And we've got a lot of, there was a young man who testified during the early hearings. I'll get his name and we'll bring him up at the next update. We have a video of him talking about how Thug really changed his life, how he became an inspirational speaker and now speaks around the world because of the influence that the Thug has had on him. So definitely he has been doing works in the community. We know he's made donations. He's had, you know, community events, etc. So there definitely is testimony to that. Any last things that Steele pointed out before you close off?
It was a lot. He was very detailed with everything, and I believe that because he helped the jurors to relate to some of the things that's happening in community. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, the state is asking for a mistrial.
The state is asking for a mistrial. The state is asking for a mistrial now?
Because I will get the details later on for you guys, but the state is asking for a mistrial. So he hasn't ruled on it yet, but we will hear it.
So we don't know anything just based upon what? Because they're not prepared, because yesterday they came in all
it has to do with something that Mr. Steele has brought up and entered. I'm sorry, guys. I wasn't paying attention. So I'm being honest. I wasn't paying attention.
Was it the Instagram pages?
But my ears just went up when I heard they were asking for a mistrial. I was like, oh, but I don't know the details. So
what'd you say, Kennedy?
I think that was right. They asked for it immediately after they went over the Instagram pages and the pictures and the captions and everything, trying to prove, I guess, like the nature of the enterprise.
Okay, so we'll look that over and we'll have details in the evening. In the meantime, one last comment from T Girl. Go ahead, you can give that, Kennedy, if you want to share.
Okay.
She's saying what she's saying. You can just read it. Oh, it says, okay, I can see it. She's saying that they can't twist your words. I'm glad you're there, Sylvia. The real story can be reported. Just another fan. Hey, T Girl and all the folks out there representing. Make sure you continue to come back. We're going to be, listen, please forgive our lateness today. Sylvia could not get here until just now. We said we were going to be 12 to 1. We're going to hope to be 8 o'clock this evening for another update. But in the middays, it gets a little dicey. It depends upon when she gets out with the court. So, of course, come support. Make sure you get that Cash App, everybody, infamous Sylvia. And she'll be back in a little bit so we can give you guys all the details later on. In the meantime, check out SOHH. We're going to be providing all the details on social media, sharing this out as well as on the site with the full article breakdown. All right, Sylvia, go ahead back in.
All right,
get those notes ready. Give us details when we come back.
Okay, I'll have to pay attention this time. Okay, thank you, guys.
All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.